Hey guys, Icemanfiveoh here. So I know it's been a while. I've been working on motorcycle stuff, but I thought we'd get back to doing some electronic stuff. We're here at the lab, literally. So why don't we look at? I got my Game Boy that I wanted to build from absolute scratch. It's the last time I pulled off the microprocessor off of a Super Nintendo Game Boy adapter. And let's see if we can get that soldered on to the main board, and let's see if we can put this thing together. I'm kind of excited. Let's see how it works. Hopefully everything goes good. So, all right, we'll see you guys in a minute. Hang on. All right, so where we left off last time was desoldering the CPU from the Super Game Boy adapter, right? So I desoldered this with my hot air gun, and the next step is, so this is what they call the Super DMG, all right? And let's get this open. So this comes with, the CPU board, the Super DMG jack board, RGR DMG power board, a 4-pin cable, a 5-pin cable, a 2-pin cable, and a Type-C connector. So I got this from J&T Studio. Can you see that? J&T Studio. So let's open this up and let's see what's in the box. All right. So we got our Super DMG Kit manual, right? And here's 2 of the boards. This is like the smaller boards, power board, whatever. Here is our Super DMG motherboard. And we got a couple other things. This looks like some USB-C port. And we got our little cables, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is let's look at the instructions. I will glance over them and we'll see what it says. Okay. Tools needed: screwdriver, Super Game Boy, side cutters, a Game Boy, and a soldering iron. Well, we got all that. Assembly steps, yeah, they just tell you to take it apart, remove it via soldering iron. You ain't removing this with a soldering iron. You got to use a hot air setup. I can actually show you. Hang on a second. I'll show you what I used. There is another video where I took that off, and I pretty much got roasted. That's the first time I ever used a hot air. I probably should have used a little bit more flux and some solder. Hang on. I'll show you what I used, and they're actually relatively cheap. Hang on. All right. This is what I use. This is the Atten Hot Air rework station. This is the, what does it say? ST862D. This is really easy to use. Just turn it on. You can change your temperature and your airflow. Works great. I got this from Louis Rossman Repair Group. You guys may know him on YouTube. But it comes with a variety of tips, whatnot. And yeah, I just desoldered the chip, and that's where we're at. I'll leave a link. I'll look this up for, I think it was $230, super cheap. It's been great so far. All right, so it says remove it, which we've already done, and then it just says install, solder. And then just step 4 is adding some wires to some parts of the board. And you used to cut off 2 to 3 millimeters of the power switch. Oh, okay, right, that's on the main board itself. They do tell you that. It's, let me show you here. Here's, where is it? There's this little guy right here. Let's pull this out of the package. Take a look here. Is this guy right here? They want you to cut off 2 to 3 millimeters of it so it fits in the thing, I guess. And then they talk about disassembling your Game Boy and then assembling it in the thing. Now, I went all out. I got a brand new case. I went with black smoke. And I got all sorts of buttons, I think, in here somewhere. I hope I do. Is that what's in here? Let's take a look. Yeah, so I got the pads, and I got, oh, these are, I forgot about this. Look at these. I got these iridescent buttons. I think that's gonna look pretty cool. The iridescent with the black. I did get FunnyPlaying, their upgraded speaker. These speakers are really awesome. They really up the sound on your Game Boy. And of course, it comes. I got the piezoelectric pads or whatever. I got everything brand new. So when we go to put this together, we can, you know, it's going to be from scratch. Also, to enhance this, I got the was it like the IPS V3 or whatever screen. I got a lot of. Where did I get this from? I'll leave a link in the description. I forget, but we've got the IPS screen. We've got the yeah, here we go. Retro gaming, retro game repair shop. That's where I got the IPS screen and all this stuff, and it comes with the whole, basically, you know, the whole board here, you know. So basically, I'm building a Game Boy that from scratch that never existed. We pulled this, and this. What's cool about the CPU? What's cool about this CPU is it skips the Nintendo boot screen because it's part of the Super Game Boy adapter. So it's kind of neat. You know, this is kind of really one of the only options. I do have some dead Game Boys where I could probably pull the Game Boy CPU off of there too. That's cool. It's good to know. Now that I got the Hot Air, I can probably do that too. But yeah, everything you need comes in the pack. I think I got two different. I think I got a glass one, so I went with either the typical gray, like old school looking, or the black. So we'll have to make a decision on which one we want. So that'll, and it, you know what's crazy is that if you've never seen this before, this case, if you pull out, I forget, is it, I don't know if I could, all I know is that if you got to pull out one of the foams. Is it this foam? If you pull out one of the foams, yeah, look at that. You can close it in this case. You see that? Like it will actually lock and close. So pretty cool. They give you this with the screen and everything. And, you know, to me, the top parts, the top foam is the most important, right? So you can see it. I mean, I don't know. Kudos to them. Some genius made this box just the right size. So let me change the camera angle, and we'll try and get this thing soldered on here. I'm gonna have to end up using a microscope, I think, because these pads are way too small. May or may not be able to get you in there to show you, but I'll do my best. Hang on. All right. The key to this whole thing is making sure that you find. You're like, which one's pin 1? Well, pin 1's indicated by there's a little notch, and I'm gonna see if I can bring the camera closer and not zoom in as much because you can't really see it when it's zoomed. But there's it's like the corner's taken off here. It's 45. This is a 90. That's a 90. That's a 90. This one's, you know, cut off at a 45. Let me see if I can get the camera closer and get you a better shot, because on the board you can see it's much clearer on the board. You see how it's, you know, 90, 90, 90. And you can see the corner's cut off, and there's an arrow. You want to line the notches up, otherwise you got the chip totally backwards. It can only go one of two ways, right? Because it's a rectangle, right? So it's either this, you know, we either put it this way or this way, and that ain't the right way. Let me see if I can zoom in. All right, that's a little bit better. You see how you can see like the corner's cut off, right? That corner's fine. That corner's fine. That corner's fine. That one's got the corner nibbled off, and you can see that, you know, this is an original Super Game Boy CPU. This is the one that goes in the Super Game Boy adapter. Let me get you back in the stand. I'm gonna have to use a microscope, you know, because I'm blind, and let's get this thing on there. Hang on. All right, so how I like to do this is you want to start you know, by lining up your chip, and then you want to attack one pin, then the other pin. You're going to see that the, you know, getting all the pins lined up is key. So you guys watch through the camera, and I'm going to be watching through the microscope here. I use a Hakko FX100 soldering iron. You guys can see here's my tip. See, Hakko. Okay, and I think these are the I don't know, 825C 825F tips or whatever it is, the standard black tip. So, and always make sure that you've got plenty of flux. I use this Chip Quick NC191. This stuff works pretty good. So there should be enough flux in the solder for what I want to do, just to get it tacked, right? So I'm going to try not to move the board around, and we're going to line up. You got to line it in all 4 directions. Oh, I can already see that maybe I got a couple of pins that I got to straighten back out here. So like this pin, yeah, needs to come that way a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna try going down. I'm gonna start at pin 1, right? I'm gonna move the microscope out of the way. Okay. And I'm gonna put my goggles on here. Let me just clip the microphone to my camera real quick. I'm gonna use my X-ray goggles wherever I just put them. Here they are. We're gonna line this up in both directions. Pins are touching. So, okay. Very first thing, this is how I do it, is move the chip out of the way, right? And I'm gonna put a dab of solder on one pin. We're gonna start at one corner and then the opposite corner. So we're just gonna put the lightest amount of solder on this pin right there. Boom. Okay, that's it. It's just enough to hold it in place. I may be able to solder these individually, but what I'll probably end up doing is just drag soldering them. Drag solder and put the chip on. So we've got, I want to make sure that you can still see this. Yeah, you can still see this. Okay. All right. And that's tricky. We're a little off on this side. You got a little wiggle room once you get that first pin on there. I see another pin over here that I kind of bent to the side. The key is not to break these pins off. I can already see this one's, geez. All right. I gotta get this pin straightened out. This is the hardest part. Where's my camera? Over here, you can see like one pin is crossing under the other. Let me let's see if I can get that. Hang on a second. This is a little tricky. And you're not going to be able to... Yeah, maybe I can show you like that. Just going to use my X-Acto, and we're going to try and just get under that pin. There we go. And just kind of easy get in and kind of leverage that pin back into place. And the pin next to it. Okay. I do have a spare CPU if I screw this one up. And we're going to push this one kind of down in place. Yeah, this isn't for the weak of heart. Okay. Alright, that's pretty close. Let's get you back in the view here. Where's my... Okay. Alright. Got to really be careful while you're touching these pins, you know, try not to grab it by the pins at all, right? lay that down on there. I'm gonna slide my microscope back into place here. Let's see here. I need to see where I'm going. Okay, I'm gonna zoom on a little bit. All right. Okay. All right, we're good on the left and the bottom, the left and the bottom side. Now I'm gonna take a look at it from over here. I'm a little shifted on the right. There we go. Okay. All right. I think I got it exactly where I want it. We need to come. It's close, man. There we go. There we go. All right. Now, I'm holding it down with my thumb. You can see me holding it down. And we're just going to tack. I'm just going to heat up. There we go. The one pad that I put solder on, boom. Done. Okay? Now, it shouldn't go anywhere. We still look pretty good. Now I'm going to rotate the board, and we're going to do the opposite pin. And man, those all look lined up pretty good too. All right? That looks pretty good. So then we're going to come in here, and we're going to tack. Ooh, 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 ooh. It moved just the tiniest bit. There we go. Lightest touches. That's why you got to do the one pin and the opposite pin. Light touch. Light touch. Okay, get my thumb right where I want it. Boom. There we go. Now, the chip ain't going anywhere. Up, down, left, or right. And I think I can just solder these individually. So let's go. We'll go into a montage here, and I'll get this soldered in. So hang on. We'll be right back. Oh, you know what? Like I said, don't forget. Flux is your friend. Let's not forget that. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna touch, touch with the iron, then touch with the solder. Touch with the iron, and that's what we're gonna do. Birds now. Love Bob Ross. Alright. So, like I said, now I'm going to finish this off and we'll be done. All right, and that's it. Now, I like to use this. Let me see if we can zoom you out a little bit here. Wrong way. I like to use this Chemtronics Flux Off. What is this? No Clean Plus, and we're just gonna clean. I'll show you. We're just gonna kind of start from the top here, and just see, it kind of juices out. All right. Got a little brush on the end. And get this thing all sparkly clean. Yeah, this chip's pretty easy. I've done some chips here at work that were a lot harder than that, where you had to drag solder them. The pitch on this is pretty big. More. Pretty clean and good. All right. Ooh, bumped you. All right, let me wipe off my bench here. Stuff cleans your bench pretty good. All right. So now Let's see if we can zoom you back in and take a look. Come on over here. Yeah. So you can see that every pin is soldered. Pretty sure we got our pin 1 at our pin 1. So, really, the next step is to assemble the rest of what they said with the wiring and everything to finish this up. So let me take a look at that, and we will figure out what goes where, and I'll bring you back. Hang on.
Hey everybody, if you're enjoying the video content Icemanfiveoh is presenting, I urge you to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Thanks. What? Watch the video.
Alright, now this is key. So, you can see on the board, it shows 5 volts, minus 18, ground, and switch. And you see it says CONV, that's for the converter. This is the converter power board, and you can see it says 5, minus 18, ground, and switch, right? So, just match up. Forget about colors. Don't be like, oh, red's power. No, and in fact, if you look at this, it's not. Black is power. Black is 5 volts. Red is minus 18. Don't get hung up on the colors. Don't do that. Just pin to pin, you know? So, that's what we're going to do here. Now, I don't know how they want you to, am I going to put them in? I don't know if I should be soldering them, like, on the out. I think I'm going to go from the top down. All right, so we're going to start. They are in order, so you kind of can't screw it up. So 5 volts. In this case, it's the black wire, right? So we're going to find our connector again here. And 5 volts is the first one. One thing that I like to do, here, we'll show you. We'll show you what I do. It's pretty simple. Is just put a light amount of solder on the pad like this to cover the hole, right? Just to get it so when I put the solder on it, it filled up the hole, right? So I'm just going to take my micro tip here and heat this up and push it through the hole. Wait a second. It's soldered at this point, but if you turn it around, yeah, if you turn it around, you can see we're good and soldered. All right. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, we're going down the line. So black was 5 volts. Just follow the, like I said, follow the board. The next one is minus 18. The next one's minus 18. Okay. So we're just going to take this and I'm just going to put solder on all of these at this point. Right there. Right there. Right there, and right there. Those are the 4 wires for the power converter board. Now we're going to flip it over again. Like I said, 5 volts, minus 18, ground, switch. And you can see, just 5 volts, minus 18, ground, switch. Right? Okay, so they're in order. So we're going to turn this over. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see my big hand here. Alright. Now, we're going to take the red wire and we're going to do like I did before. And we're just going to keep the wires out of the way so you don't melt them. Okay? Can I get you a little closer? Okay. Keep all the wires out of the way except the ones you want. Then get it close, heat it up, push it in. Okay? So what's the next wire? The white wire is ground, and that's the next one in the chain. So then we're going to do the same thing. Just move your wires out of the way. All right. Ooh, careful. Okay. And the yellow one is the last one. And we will look from the back side. If we need to touch them up, we will, but I put a decent amount of solder on the hole. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now let's flip this around. Ah, yeah. So you can see, if I zoom in a little closer, you can see that there's a couple of them where I get a better angle on it here. We're gonna touch these up. So make sure that you either put something underneath of there. It could really be anything, you know. I got a little fan bracket I designed for something else. Just kind of put that under there so that the wires can't really go anywhere, right? Oh, you can see that one kind of wiggling around. All right, then we're going to just touch them up. Bloop. Bloop. Okay, that's it. And then, you know, you can come in here with your flush cutters and just cut the very tips that are sticking through out. And 1, 2. Come on, 3, 4. All right. So now, let me zoom you back out. You can see that our power board is now attached, or converter board, whatever you want to call it, is attached to the main unit. So I'm just gonna kind of unplug this. Be careful with these plugs. You can rip the wires out. You know what? We're gonna leave it close enough, okay? Because I don't want to. You can pull the wires out of the connector. They should be crimped pretty good, but you know, better safe than sorry, right? So the next thing we got to do is the 5-pin connector. The 5-pin, and this goes to this what is a Super DMG jack. So let me. I like plugging it in to make sure I got everything where it goes. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Click. All right. And on this one, if we look here, it says VLRGE, right? So I'm assuming that on this board, VLRG. Oh, interesting. Okay. So if you look here, it says 5V, but it's VLRGE, which is the same thing it says here, VLRGE. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm not going to bore you. I'm going to put this one in, and then we're pretty much almost ready to plug this thing in and hook it up to the controls board and see what happens. I'm hoping. Is it this board? Do we got to put on the USB-C? I'm trying to figure out where we put the USB-C. Is there for somewhere? Is it on this board? Oh, yeah. I think it's over here. Right? I think that's no. Yeah, this is the link connector. If you wanted it, I'm not going to use the link connector, and I think this one's the power. What does it say over here? I don't really say anything, but I think that's where it goes. We'll have to look at the directions and see, but I'm pretty sure this is where that USB-C port goes, which, when you look at a Game Boy, it sits like this in the case. So that's where the power plug would be over here, where your power jack would go. All right, since I have the USB-C jack, I'm going to go ahead and solder it on. I see it in my sights here. Zoom in. I usually do the grounds last, the ground tabs, which are, let's see if I can show you with my iron. The ground tabs are the ones with the big holes. Again, I'm going to just tack one side. Okay. Damn it. I think I got into the plastic a little bit here or something. Of the jack. Scrape off some of the plastic that I melted. Okay. Alright, yeah, make sure you put plenty of stuff on here, plenty of flux. Okay. Clean my tip off. And then I'm going to come in here. Alright. We're going to get the other side. Oh. We got a short there. Oh, we got a couple of shorts. All right, we're gonna. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna come back with some solder wick. You guys seen this stuff? And I'm just gonna come in here and unshort the pins. Okay, I think I got them all. Solder wick works awesome. I can come in here with my test probes and check and make sure that we don't have any dead shorts. That's what it'll sound like. Okay. Like I said, we'll come back and check for. We'll put in the solder on the ground here in a second. Okay. 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 That's not a short, what you're hearing. I'd like to put some flux on that last pin again. Get off of there. A little flux right there. And then I'd like to just touch up this last pin. There we go. There we go. Now the last thing I'd like to do, and you could do this, you could have done this on the CPU too, is I'd like to come in with an X-Acto, and I'm gonna just push ever so gently on each pin to make sure that it's attached to the board. Yes. 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 Yeah. 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 Okay. Now I will finish off the frame grounds, and we will finish soldering the wires, and let's see if we can get this thing hooked up. When you're soldering those big grounds, you're going to need a bigger tip. That's what she said. To really get some heat into those. The little tips just can't do it. So, you know, you only use these when you absolutely are soldering these kind of connections. Come in here. There we go. Ooh, that's nice. Come on. I'm gonna get my board and frame there a little bit more. Okay. Those really just, you know, prevent the connector from snapping off, right? They're more of a amount for stability than ground. There we go. You want to watch it wet out. Okay. Alright, and there's two on this side. Let's get a little flux on there. Make it a little bit happier. Okay. Watching it flow in. Alright. And once you solder like one of these, you know, the metal gets hot and it kind of stays hot. So you gotta put, you have to put as much heat into it. Alright. Yeah, it's like a mechanical ground, a mechanical attachment to the board, right? If we flip this thing over, I could probably, yeah, the holes aren't exactly filled up. Let me see if I can get a little bit from this side too. Get that thing fully. There we go. There we go. It's kind of like a weld. You want to make sure that you got full penetration. Okay. A little bit more on this one. There we go. Awesome. I'm going to finish the wiring, and then let's see. I don't know if I can, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if this, they said you have to add your own regulator or something. I don't really know what the whole deal is, but I'm not sure if I have double A's. I hope I do, because we're going to start with double A's, not this. I don't want to smoke this thing just yet. Hang on. Alright, I'm going to cut off a little bit off of this. Boom. Alright, that looked like 2 to 3 millimeters. We have to go back and file it or something, I guess. But the only other thing we got to worry about is the port where this USB-C is. When you slide, let me zoom you out here. See? No, I went too far. Alright. So when you kind of drop this in here, there may be an issue. We may have to cut away or notch here if we're going to use this. It's maybe or maybe not. Well, we definitely have to open up this hole, you know, files or whatever, but I think the big thing is making sure, let's get the wiring routing correct here. They show, or snap, they show the wires on this side. That's easily fixed. Let me flip those around and then we'll get to laying this thing down. Alright, all we're gonna do is heat it up, pull it out, and then we're just gonna put it on the top side, like so. The wires are a little long, not sure it matters, but we're just gonna clip off a teeny amount. There we go. Okay, there's already solder on this side, and we will just done. Alright, so now it kind of looks like this diagram where it shows the wires to the left underneath and the wires to the right on top of your thing here. Alright, so this, I'm assuming these wires kind of have to route behind, kind of behind here, right? And it drops in, thusly. There we go. Huh. All right. Let's see here. Where is this going? This one goes like on the side here. Let me zoom you out. Let's see, where do we gotta put that? They took this board to get off of there. They took the power board kind of on the right side here, kind of like I can see the wires kind of loop around like this. And it kind of sits. Oh yeah, there's a slot there. Let's see if I'll bring you guys in here. Woo! So when you look in the plastic, there's a slot. That's where this board's gonna go. So it kind of sits like I said, the wires loop back on themselves. Kind of like, maybe kind of like something like this. And I can see that the components, the components on this board are facing this way. So the board we want to be sitting the board like something like this. Let me get a closer look at it here. Something like this, I guess. Let me figure it out, and I will bring you back when I got it done. Alright, everybody. So, this is roughly what it's going to look like, you know, with this half completed. If I kind of hold this all together, you can see, you know, it's sitting there. I can't, the only thing I didn't bring with me was a game. I forgot. But what we need to do is we need to finish putting the IPS screen in this side of the case. Like I said, that was the whole guy in here, right? So, but this is all the soldering. So the placement is, you can kind of see that board sits in there, and the connector goes to the top, and then the wires just kind of fold onto themselves. Just make sure you come around, put the wires underneath here, and we're going to set that in there. And then there is a little plastic 3D printed piece that goes under here, and we got to screw this board down. And I soldered the wires onto the speaker here, and the speaker basically kind of just sits in this area on the other side of the board, on the other side of the shell. See, it sits here. There's a locating tab kind of right to the left upper area, like 10 o'clock. So that's about it. I'm gonna stop here, and then we will finish up. We'll finish up at a later point. I'll get a game. We'll put the whole IPS screen in here, and then we'll put the two halves together, and that'll be it. And hopefully it works. All right, guys. So that's part one of getting the kit together. Like I said, the next thing we'll do is we'll put the IPS screen in, and we will close the clamshell. Obviously, we're going to test it before all that, but like I said, I need a game. I got batteries, and we can see how we did. Hopefully, I didn't burn up the CPU when I took it out. Looks good putting it in, so that's always a crapshoot. But I also have some dead Game Boys. You have no idea how many Game Boy parts I have. The only other thing that didn't come in this, which I forgot to get, which I have a million of already, is the power switch at the top that goes in there. And that's about it. So, alright guys, we'll see you on the next one. Easy.
I am iron.